Hey you guys, this is Jerry Mateo with recordingsoftware.com. Remember to check out the link in the description below where you can get an awesome deal on these two plugins we're going to be featuring in today's video. Hey you guys, welcome back. So today we have another FabFilter and Positive Grid bundle. That is going to be on the Bias Effects and the FabFilter Pro-MB. So Pro-MB is basically taking the idea of a multi-band compressor and putting it on steroids. Let's say I don't have any bands set up. I can easily just select and make bands anywhere in the frequency spectrum. And a cool thing is they don't actually have to be linked. These are not linked to each other at all, and I can move them around anywhere I want. That's something that only Pro-MB does as far as I know. You also have the ability to have an expert view where you can actually make each individual band be triggered by individual sections. So let's say my low end is going to be triggered by my high end, and my high end will be triggered by my low end. It's not something you'd ever really do, but the idea is really cool, especially since you have external side chaining and all this other cool stuff. You can really get some pretty crazy results. This is also great because you have look ahead and oversampling, and you can even have it minimum phase or linear phase. And then Bias Effects is really similar to Bias Amp or Bias Amp 2, only instead of giving you the ability to control and create every little component inside of the amp, you actually get to load up the amps that you've created in Bias Effects or in Bias Amp or Bias Amp 2. As you see right here, I have Bias Amp 2. I have a ton of cabinets and stuff that I've actually made. This is Jerry Clean. This is one that I made pretty recently. And then we have, again, bass, acoustic, high gain, crunch, and low gain. But they've also added the ability to have effects. That's why it's called Bias Effects. So you can just, let's say we click here and I hit add effects. I can add gates, compressors, and you can always buy more because there are expansion packs. We have boost pedals, drive pedals. As you can see, anything that's grayed out is something I don't own. I highly recommend trying to grab this Sans amp though. Sans amps are amazing. We have EQs, modulation, delays, and reverbs. And to be honest, their spring reverb and their stereo reverb are amazing. So a cool thing is you can actually just slap anything anywhere in the signal chain that you want it to be in. And you actually have the ability to have 2 or 1 path. So single or dual path, which allows you to have 2 different amps on it or just 1. And again, like Bias Amp 2, you can go into the tone cloud and grab other people's preset packs. Now this has been out for a while, so there are quite a bit of preset packs and there are a lot of other extensions you can easily get to it. But for this case, I want to show you guys what I like to use it for. So I have a clean guitar DI, and this is a DI of this acoustic guitar. Let me just play the acoustic for you. Right? It sounds pretty good. A little bit of breathing and stuff is honestly not much of a problem for me. I kind of like it. I think it gives something a little bit of character. But then we also have this DI. Let me play it. Now, everyone knows that acoustic guitar DIs always sound like garbage. They sound like plastic, especially compared to an electric guitar, where the electric guitar pickup source is actually what goes into the amp to make it sound like an electric guitar. This is not the case. It's a little piezo mic picking up some noise. So if I turn on Bias Amp, you can see what I'm turning it into. Really heavily compressed, and a lot of modulation going on, right? So let me show you what this is going to sound like out of the mix without it, and then I'll turn it on when it's out of mute. So here we go. Turn it on. Off. It just adds a little bit of space and gives it a unique character. So let's go into it. The first thing I did is I have the noise filter gate. This is my favorite gate for any guitar source in general. It just sounds so natural and smooth. Then I have this compressor, which is doing a lot of compression, and it's actually doing it very, very aggressively. I don't have the drive, so I'm going to X that out. And I'm using this acoustic amp. Now I can easily go to cab section right here and control where I want to put the mic. As you can see, there's quite a large selection of cabinets to use. The mic models are 57 and a C414. And then I'm actually using this flanger and this chorus to give it a really wide sound. I'm also using another compressor to really kind of make it pump, and then I have an EQ to filter it out. So I'm going to bypass pretty much everything, and we're going to listen to the guitar. As you can hear, it sounds kind of dull, not really much going on. Right? If I turn on the gate, it's just cleaning it up. The compressor is making it loud and pumpy. And watch what happens when I turn on the acoustic. Right? You can really hear the pump from the compressor if I bypass it. And then check out what happens with the flanger. Right? Really ethereal and moving, but add that to the chorus. We can even bypass the compressor and put on this comp. And then a little bit of EQ just to kind of shape it and give it some space. Watch when I bypass it. And we bring it back in. It just adds that extra oomph that we really needed to make this sound a little bit more interesting, because there's so many recordings of just a guitar with some other instruments that maybe a little bit of a crazy flanging might help out. So next we're going to go on to the Pro-MB. And this is actually going to be used in focusing on the low end of the actual guitar recording. If I bypass the Pro-MB, you're going to hear this low end resonance that really comes out at these peaks right here. You hear that? When I turn it on? It really kind of brings it in and controls a little better. And with it on, it's doing it in a very natural way. And the way that I like to use Pro-MB is I like to just slap on the crossovers, select them, and you just select the band that you want it to be in. I have it here. I set the threshold a little bit low. I have it in compression mode, and I have it doing about 6, almost 7 dBs of a range. And I slowed down the attack and made the release really, really long. That way it holds it, because you notice that note lasts for a long time. So watch what happens if I make it really fast. It doesn't really do much, but if I make it slow, it really helps tame it. So if I bypass this completely, you can really hear it overpower the guitar sound. But with it on, it makes it a lot more natural and neutral. And that's the thing. I just want this to be invisible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have bias effects muted. I'm going to have the acoustic muted. And then I'm going to bypass Pro-MB. And let's listen to how this sounds in the mix. Let's go maybe around here. Right, you can hear the low end kind of getting in the way. When I turn on the Pro-MB and turn on the guitar with the bias effects on it, you can hear how it'll sound way cooler. Now also notice that when I bypass Pro-MB, the bass is now clashing with the acoustic guitar. You hear that? That's actually both of them combined, but with it on, it's no longer clashing. You hear how they're different. And there you go. Really quick, really easy to do. I highly recommend checking out bias effects. Pro-MB is something you can use on everything. I use it for voiceovers, for recording stuff, acoustic guitars, for electric guitars, pretty much everything. Pro-MB is one of the best multi-band compressors I've ever used. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. This is Jerry Mateo with recordingsoftware.com, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.